I'm Kelly. I've been a commercial driver for about 25 years. And other than that, I probably want to be cowboy.
I'm Laurie. I've been a truck driver for 24 and a half years. Same. And I will probably drive for another 5 to 6 years. Wow, that's an interesting story. He was working at the Edmonton International Airport as manager of corporate communications. And he came home one day and he said, I hate my job. He'd never, ever complained about work. So I knew I had to take that seriously. As it turns out, he had been thinking about truck driving for many, many years.
It was something as a kid. I remember growing up in Kitimat, and I specifically remember driving by a big truck in the back of my mom and dad's car and looking at it going past me and just being fascinated in that moment. And but in Kitimat, we weren't connected to anybody in the industry. And mom and dad wanted their kids to go to university and have what they thought would be a more prosperous white collar life. I just decided my parents had passed on. And now I could kind of, not to be disrespectful to them, but I could do what I wanted to do, not what they expected me to do.
It was his turn to buy something for a condo. I had purchased some hand-woven Chinese carpets, and now it was his turn to purchase a big ticket item. And he decided he wanted to go to truck driving school and become a truck driver. I had to comply because it was his turn. So I did.
But at first, we didn't see it as a career change. It was just more something of personal interest. And let's go see. I didn't even know if I could get my class 1. I thought this is biting off quite a bit for a white collar guy. And I thought, I just wanted to go try it, see what it was like.
My dad was a long haul truck driver for close to 10 years, probably close to a decade. And he drove all types, vans and tankers, and he hauled lumber and trees, actually, forestry type trunk roads and things like that too. So a little bit of experience in the family.
He eventually became an instructor and worked with Mike's Driver Education, which is where we got our training. So we got to take a few training runs with Earl. And it was the first time Laurie and I were sort of allowed to be up in the cab together alone. And one of us was obviously driving. I can't remember who. Probably Laurie.
Me.
And Dad was in the back, and it was just really kind of a surreal moment. We were near Hinton, and we were heading eastbound, coming home, and it was just one of those special times that kind of gets cemented in your memory.
It's true. We're not apart very much. We live together, and we
work together, play together,
holiday together, and we ride horses together.
Wait, that's called marriage.
Yes, it is. Yeah, we get to see the best and worst nature has to offer. We drive the same route all the time, but the weather changes and the seasonal changes, and we get to see all that together. We get the same time off. Kelly used to work days, Monday to Friday, banker's hours, and I used to work evenings and weekends in fine dining. So, I mean, the downside is if you get mad at each other, you storm off to the bunk and close the curtain really fast.
And it's happened, especially in our first couple of years. We had to learn how to drive for real, how to be responsible for all of that by ourselves, and how to live together in, 70 square feet.
A typical day in Kelly and Laurie's world is Laurie will wake up early and always drive the day shift. Kelly always drives the night shift because Laurie can't stay awake for those.
A typical day for us starts actually 2 days before the trip because we're checking weather right away. Trip planning is number 1. And then it's meal prep. And in between that, workouts in the gym. And all of this is part of our typical day before we actually leave the house to go to work to do the trucking stuff. Some of the vital lessons I've learned start with the best training you can afford and find, greatest mentors that might be available to you, be a student of the game, learn the equipment as soon as you can, find routines that work for you and stick to those routines because that muscle memory will make the job a lot easier.
Really great lesson. I hear Mike still in my ear to this day that drive your trailer, not your truck. Your trailer will be your greatest downfall. So always pay attention to what that trailer's doing. Mentoring is one of the best ways to learn because you're not in a classroom, you're in a truck, and you're out there on the roads, living the real life. And these mentors have years and years of experience. and they share with you things that just can't be counted.
Mentoring has benefited me tremendously. I paused to answer that question because I'm not sure where to begin about the benefits. So without great mentoring, I would not be the driver I am today. And thanks to a man named Ken, who's no longer with us, he has a lot to do with how I've turned out. We're getting to pay it back now by mentoring a young couple at Texas, and they remind us of us 25 years ago, very much.
Exactly.
And they both come from a white collar background, very much like us, and they needed to be brought up to speed fairly quickly. So we've been keeping an eye on them and making sure that they don't shoot themselves in the foot. We hear about exercise. It's actually more important about what you're putting into your body than it is about activity. Activity's right next to it, but what you're feeding yourself is number one. And so we make all our own food here, all farm fresh eggs. We make, Laurie makes them. I just I'm the sous chef, cutting this, helping with that, but she's the chef. But we make what we call egg frittatas, which is a staple of ours. And it's just like egg pizza, basically, isn't it? Right, without crust in that. But it's all fresh vegetables, all fresh eggs, all homemade. We make our own salads here. It's all portioned out. Every meal is portioned out. We know exactly what we're going to eat and how much we need. And we always pack an extra day. 30 minutes to make enough food for a week if you put your mind to it. Hydration is massive, and diet is huge.
Least favorite things about being a driver would be delays when you blow a tire on the side of the QE2 or armpit nowhere, where you can't get repairs. Delays are the most frustrating part of truck driving.
I would agree with that. I think in addition to that, without being repetitive, it's other drivers that are not treating this as a profession.
Favorite things about being a driver would include driving through Montana in the fall. The leaves are changing, the sun is radiant, and there's not much traffic.
There's something romantic about driving through Montana from Billings to Great Falls in the middle of the night. The moon is out, there's stars, and you're listening to your favorite song or podcast, and you've got a sandwich, in your box, and life is perfect. And it's romantic, and it's one of the times where I feel at my very happiest. Yeah.
Being together all the time, I knew as a youngster, I wanted, we all did it. We all did it. We had a best friend, and we just wished that would last forever. And of course, it never does because life moves on. And I always wanted that feeling again, to find my best friend and spend my life with them doing something we both love doing. And then it's come true for me. I hope so for Laurie too, but
Most of the
we're
time.
best friends. Yeah, most of the time.
I'm particularly fun to be around, so it's easy for him.
We're best friends, but we're always on the same page, which I think in a relationship is really important, because in the old days, well, even today, we have one driver on the road for 2 or 3 weeks and one at home running the home. That's tough to do. And I think that takes a very special relationship. I don't think a lot make it. I
And
don't
we're
know.
complete opposites. We are totally opposites. Kelly does everything slow and very routinely. and
Methodically.
I'm very fast. I do everything fast. I'm like a NASCAR pit crew when we fuel.
Yeah.
I'm in and out in 7 minutes, and Kelly takes 30
37.
minutes to fuel.
I'm
Complete
checking a
opposites.
lot of things. Come on. But no, we often say she's the accelerator, I'm the brake
Engine brake.
in our relationship. And but between the two of us, though, it keeps us, a nice steady pace, productive, but not too fast, not too slow.
I like to say we're as different as darkness and daylight, but that's where love grows best.